What's up, y'all? What's going? What's going? What? Happy Friday, throwback. No, I'm sorry, flashback Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We made it. August 11th. My birthday is tomorrow. I'm ready for the world today, and everything is going to be all right, and everything is going to be all right. Thank you. Won't. All right, y'all. Urban Therapy with Sunsun 752 with this the Daily Go Getimism show. It's the daily Go Getimism show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it whiz? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting, and everything is going to be all right. We do this thing on a Friday night and we do it right. So, what's up, y'all? What are we talking about tonight on the Daily Go Getimism show? We are talking about what happens when you don't get none until after you are 18. Until what happens when you don't get none until you're 18 or more, 18 or over. Now, don't act crazy or don't act stupid or don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about when I say don't get none. You know, we talking about sexual activity, but that's not all we're talking about, actually. That's not all we're talking about. There are a lot of things that I personally believe that you should get out of your system before you're 18 years old. And the reason that I say that you should get it out of your system before then is because from personal experience, I know a lot of people that waited until they were 18 to have sex. And sometimes, or a lot of times in my personal experience, the results were kind of catastrophic. No matter whether you like it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, when we are brought up, when we are trained, when we are groomed, when we are taught, when we are raised, taught, groomed, brought up to have certain expectations of certain things that happen after certain things happen. And sex is one of those things. No, the sex is the one thing that most of our parents, advise us against. I don't want you out there doing that because we know that when you start having sex, you start practicing giving life. That can be one of the consequences, one of the results of having sex. So, because we know that you can have a baby or create another life or become catapulted into adulthood just by having sex, most of our parents advise against doing it, especially at a young age. You know, like, don't let me find out that you're doing it. Don't do it. Don't don't be irresponsible if you sneak and do it. And if you sneak and do it, and I find out, we get all kinds of warnings, threats, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, and this is normally before we're 18. After we're 18, we pretty much know what the consequences are of having sex if we have already had sex. Many people who are 18, 19, 20, there are plenty of virgins that are well of age. And they get a rude awakening about what loyalty is, what emotional health is, what sexual health is, what a lot of things are related to that sexual act. Nothing in your life is ever the same after you have sex for the first time. For a lot of people, it's not the same after they have sex, period. No matter how many times they do it, no matter how many partners they have in their lives. When your expectations are all messed up over sexual health or sexual activity, yeah, you're in for a rude awakening time after time after time after time. And one thing that I've noticed to be pretty consistent about people who have waited until they were in college or out of high school or over 18 to have sex is that they really didn't know what to expect. They thought that they did, but they really didn't. All of the things that people were talking about, all of the stories that you heard, all of the rumors that you heard, everything that people were talking about starts to become your reality when it's actually you that starts having sex versus somebody else. So if you've ever seen somebody crying over somebody, and because they were girlfriend and boyfriend, and it seemed like it wasn't that much of a big deal of the thing that they were crying over, like it didn't seem like it should have been that deep. Now you'll probably start to understand. And I can only really speak from a man's point of view, and trust me, that's all I'm going to speak from. Kinda. I just know that when you start having sex, things ain't the same. Things ain't the same. Not just your expectations, but other people's expectations of you. Other people's expectations of you. The mind and the expectations of a virgin are totally different from the mind and the expectations of a person that has been sexually hardened over the years, sexually sturdy over the years. The mind of a virgin has all of these lofty expectations of what happens after they start having, what happens when they start having sex. And none of that shit is applicable, valid, or realistic. It'd be like, oh, you thought y'all was going to be together forever. Oh, you didn't even know it was going to hurt. And I'm talking about the boys. Yes. For boys, it hurts also. And I'm going to tell you why it hurts. If a 18-year-old virgin male, the first time he has sex, if he can hold a nut longer than 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, there have been plenty of young men who have had sex who didn't bust off real fast. But nonetheless, if he's having sex with a virgin or a woman or a girl who isn't that sexually active, then her pussy, okay, let's say vagina. Let's be politically correct here. Her vagina is tight. And it's a muscle. There are plenty of muscles inside your vagina. Women know this. Men aren't taught that their dick is a muscle too. And when there's a lot of friction, when there's a lot of activity going in and out of a muscle that is gripping on it, regardless of how wet it is, guess what? The next day, that man feels pain. His dick is sore. Now, a lot of dudes who only, bust off in a few seconds and all of that, they don't find that out. They don't find that out till they finally learn some self-control. But that's another thing that you learn about sex is as soon as you start having sex. Self-control. Not just physical self-control, but mental and emotional self-control. All of that stuff starts to break down after you start having sex. So if you were very aloof before you started having sex, guess what? You ain't gonna be so aloof. If you had no thoughts and feelings about falling in love and being emotionally tied to somebody and bonded to somebody because you're having sex now, guess what? As soon as you start having sex, all of those feelings of fidelity, of what fidelity is and infidelity is, they all start to change as soon as you start having sex. Everything changes as soon as you start having sex. And these are the things that most adults don't teach children. They don't even know. Many adults have not figured it out their goddamn selves. Here you are 30, 40, 50 years old, and you still don't understand the difference between love and sex. You still don't understand. So of course you didn't teach it to your kids because you don't know your damn self. You don't know. You still got it fucked up. Well, that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. Tonight. So that's how it's going down on the Daily Go Getimism Show. So how y'all feeling out there? What's going on, Care Bear? What's going on, Carol Chamberlain, mi friend, mi favorita? And what's going on, Stacy White? Thanks for see y'all coming through. But yeah, this is a real thing. And when we don't teach our children sexual health, emotional health, when we fail to teach those lessons, when we fail to make sure that our perceptions aren't trumping our reality when it comes to sexual behavior, well, we do ourselves a terrible disservice. A terrible disservice. And so we're going to talk about it tonight. Now, sex is not the only thing that I think should be taught before a person turns 18. It's not the only thing. But it's one of those things that I think you have to get out of your system. Now, some people are going to think I'm crazy for saying that. And some people probably going to say, well, what about your daughter? You telling me that you want your daughter having sex at 15, 16, 17 years old? Not necessarily, but realistically, just as a real rationally thinking man and a father, I have to ask myself, would I rather my daughter have sex at, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years old and realize that it's not all that it's cracked up to be, and that the person that you have sex with ain't Superman, ain't the greatest thing in the world, is not the greatest love of all? Would I want that at an early age so she can prepare herself for later on when the sex actually starts to get better, when it's not just something she's doing because her boyfriend wants her to do it, or because she loves him, or because she thinks he's going to leave her or choose somebody else because they're going to give it up if she don't? You think I would I rather have that at 16, or would I rather have that at 24, where nobody's going to give a fuck that you don't understand the difference now? I'm just saying. At least at 15, 16, 17 years old, the threat of pregnancy and all of that, the threat of disease and all of that is still there. The same way it'll be when you're 25. But at 25, the sympathy towards it ain't going to be there from other adults. They got other shit to do. Your peers may already have 2 or 3 kids they got themselves, so they ain't got time to be babying you. But at 15, 16, 17 years old, oh yeah, you're going to get all the help and advice and instructions that you need. When I was 20, I was 20. I wasn't 21 yet. When I was 20 years old, I had sex with a woman who was 24. 20 and 24, there's a. And I was like, how did you? She was in college, went to University of Pitt. And I was like, how did you make it to 24 years old without having sex? So a part of me didn't want to believe it. Oh, but it was true. It was true. And I ain't like a lot of dudes who wanted to have sex with a virgin, or wanted to break a virgin in because, they wanted to stamp their territory. They wanted his dick to be the first and the only one that she knew. And, you know, the ego, the male ego associated with sex. And as far, and I ain't gonna lie, y'all, as far as I'm concerned, the only dudes who really cared about a girl being a virgin and all of that were sadistic dudes and dudes who really didn't know how to fuck. That's just an opinion of mine. It's just an opinion. How would I know if they knew how to fuck or not? Well, I always look at how your woman treats you. It don't seem all that hard to figure out to me. I don't know about y'all. But as far as I'm concerned, when I watch the interaction between couples. I don't be all in their business, but if they are within my visionary range, I check out how, you know, a woman is treating her man in front of everybody. And then if I see her treating him like he's just another person, or like he's just a friend, or like, you know, kind of bossing him around, running him, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that nigga ain't handling his. So ain't. That is not the way a young woman treats a man that's pounding her correctly. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I ain't even trying to hear no argument to that. If you snaking out your young shorty the right way, that shit done changed her whole world. She gonna be like a cat up under you all the time. What's up, oh? What's going on? Wherever you go, I want to go. Y'all know, y'all like Yolanda Adams. You know Yolanda Adams, her first album, you know, Mountain High, Valley Low. I don't know if that was her first album, but anyway, she got a song called I want to say that it's called Mountain High, Valley Low, but it's not. But that's how the chorus goes. Mountain high, valley low, there will be obstacles wherever you are. That's where I wanna be. That's how a young girl usually treats her boyfriend, who is either pumping her right or at least trying his best to make her feel comfortable in their sexual activity. That is her homeboy. You ain't gonna see her inviting other dudes to be around her and all that kind of shit. Nah, because her emotions are directly tied into that act. I don't know. Damn. Stacey White says, my first encounter, I was 21. Heavy. You waited until you were able to drink. Woo! Wow. Questions. So many questions I have. So many questions. Like, why did you wait so long? You know, how? You know, dudes be out there trying to, you know what I mean? They be out there trying to catch a V. They be out there trying to catch a V. But like I said, you know, at 21 years old, I'm thinking that your expectations of how sex was going to be was probably way different than actually when it actually happened. You know how, like in the movies, you know, when a girl has sex for the first time, it ain't never how it is in real life. That shit is an uncomfortable situation. It's uncomfortable for the male. It's uncomfortable for the female because it hurts. It really, really hurts a girl to be penetrated for the first time. That shit hurts. Now, you know, there's some girls who have been playing around with a dildo for a few years, but I would imagine even with that, trying to do that for yourself, like I would imagine that ain't no easy thing to do. It ain't. It can't be. It can't be. I would imagine. That's crazy. That's crazy, Care Bear. Care Bear says no one ever really knows what to expect when they first start. They don't. But in the movies, you never see them like, ow, oh, wait, stop. All right, wait. Oh my. You don't see that in the movies. You don't have them bleeding all day the next day, wonder what the hell is going on, thinking that, you know, no, I've never seen a movie where somebody's cherry got popped. And when your cherry gets popped, you really understand why they called your cherry. Red everywhere. And you can't tell your parents about it. At 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. It's different. It's different. It's different. So, yeah, there's, I think that a person should get that out of their system before somebody gets predatory towards them and starts treating them and mistreating them in certain types of ways. Now, that's my opinion. I'm not going to say that that's a fact. It's my opinion. But it is a fact that the storybook romance, the whole romantic way that things are portrayed in the movies is different. Like I said, that 24-year-old woman, she was a woman to me. She was 4 years my senior. That means like when I was in 8th grade, she was already a senior in high school. That's what that was. So with 21 years old, her being 24, I'm almost ready to be calling her Miss. She was my old John. But she was absolutely a virgin. There was definitely more than enough evidence to support it. And I don't think it was a very enjoyable experience for either one of us. With her, I know there was a lot of pain. For me, there was too much starting and stopping, and crying, and I'm like, I don't care what nobody say. There is nothing worse than a sexual experience that feels like a sexual assault when it's not. There's just too much pain. There's too much pain. A full grown adult shouldn't be feeling that, for real. And at 20 years old, I mean, don't get me wrong, I definitely took my time with her, but I was strong. I'm gonna leave it at that. I was strong, very, very, very strong. And it was amazing because she was a thick joint too. She had a fatty body, was crazy. But you could, and honestly, real shit, you could tell by her whole demeanor that she was a virgin. You could tell by her whole demeanor that she was a virgin. She was mature, she was smart, educated, all that kind of shit. But you could tell by her whole demeanor, she was green as grass as far as her expectations was concerned, her emotional health related to sex and all that kind of stuff. She was green. And I was like, you know how some girls lie and say that they are virgin, playing head games with a dude? She wasn't lying. She wasn't lying. She wasn't lying. So I'm like, with a body like that, she probably should have got that out of the way at 16, 17 years old. Yeah, I mean, she was ready to go crazy. Like, calm down. Now, now, um, now, had I been a virgin too, my expectations probably would have been a lot different. For a young man, when he first started having sex, first of all, you think that the girl that you having sex with is the best sex out there in the world. It's certainly the best pussy you ever got because you ain't never had nothing before. So whatever it's hitting for is what it's hitting for. You don't know whether it's good or bad. And it will take you a few times and a few other women before you figure out what's good and what's you know, you can spend weeks, months, and years thinking that you've been digging around in some gold, only to find out that nah, man, that shit was barely nickel. No, not copper, nickel. You ain't been you ain't been uh-uh, uh-uh. But you don't know. And in your not knowing, in your ignorance of what good sex is, thinking that this sex is all of that. Not only do you think that the sex is all of that, but you think that the woman having sex with you, the girl having sex with you, you think that she is all of that. And now you worried about it. All your boys, any other guy that talks to her thinks she's cute and all of that, just like you did and you do. You think that he's going to be trying to get after her, and if she pays him any type of attention, now you all jealous and possessive and acting a fool. Why? Because your little dick then got wet and you don't know how to control yourself. So you over here acting like a fool, like a young domestic violent type motherfucker. Like, yo, somebody got to do something about you. You over here dropping out of school, flunking out of school because you thinking about what she doing over there. Don't go to school. Don't be away at college. Don't be away at college and your girl is back home. Your ass is not going to finish college. You're going to be up at school wondering who is messing around with your girl. Meanwhile, there's thousands of chicks up here you could be smutting. But you ain't, you know what I mean? You out here trying to be a good guy. 18, 19, 20 years old. So you actually up here being faithful. You ain't cheating and all of that. That's a beautiful thing. But the thing is, you don't know what she doing back home, but that's all that's on your mind. So you over here supposed to be doing your calculus homework, but you thinking about what she doing. You FaceTiming nowadays. We gonna go modern. Here you are FaceTiming her all the goddamn time. You supposed to be reading your materials, studying for your exams, doing your projects, going to your classes. Back in the day, here you are running up your long distance bill and going back home, going home every weekend or whenever you can, or got her coming up to the school to visit you. Here you are living in a dorm with living in the freshman dorm with you and your roommate, and you got her up here damn near living with you. And you expect your roommate to respect that. This is what happens when your young male ass ain't getting no ass until you was 18, 19 years old. You all lost and turned out. Young Oliver, where's your will? Lost and turned out, don't buy that girl. No, Seville, lost and turned out. Yeah, man, it's devastating to a brother when the first time he get his dick wet. He be like, oh my God, she's so pretty. She's so fine. I'm so glad that she's all my. I said, she's so pretty. She's so fine. I'm so glad that she's all my. Hold up. Who trying to talk to her? I know you ain't really trying to do it. I ain't having it. Yo, I'm doing everybody in who tries to get close. No. If I see you out trying to creep, yo, I'm going to have to play the Lord. I keep my composure, but I know closure is not something that I'm looking for. You won't come around it no more. Once I give you this black eye, I dotted your eye. You don't come around here, don't try to ever get my girl. She is my world. I mean, my total world, my earth. What it's worth. I don't want nobody ever looking at her. And if it ever does occur, it's going to be World War III. And I'm going to be started off with you. You and me, motherfucker. Yeah. Besides sex, there are other things that you should probably get out of your system before you turn 18. Learning how to drive. This is my personal list. I just think that by 18, everybody should at least have had some driver's lessons. Even if you don't have your license and you're not a car owner or driver yourself, you should at least know how to drive for a variety of reasons. For a variety of reasons. It's uncomfortable when you're taking a long drive somewhere with somebody who can't take the wheel. Like, what if you get tired and you don't feel like driving, or you try to push yourself and you mess around and can fall asleep behind the wheel? It's just something that can happen. So somebody should at least be able to get behind the wheel and get y'all to safety. How you going to depend on somebody who can't drive to do that? So yeah, I think before you 18, you should have some driver's lessons under your belt and be able to steer the car, navigate the car to wherever we need to go. I'm not driving all the way down south or to the West Coast or over anywhere over 200 miles with 9 drivers in the car. Now, my mom used to do it. She didn't give a shit. She used to load the whole car up, and we used to drive to Milwaukee. That's a 13-hour drive, and it wasn't nothing but kids in the car. Nothing but minors in the car. I mean, she was built like that. And so am I. But it's not smart. It's not a wise thing to do. Carol says, I won't drive anymore without a second driver. I'm saying, I don't care if you have a license or not. As long as you can get behind this wheel and do our thing and not generate attention from the cops, I'll let you drive in a pinch. But you should at least be able to try or do it. Carol says, yeah, especially long distance. Yes, especially long distance. You going there? I don't care. You only going to Virginia? Virginia is too far to be driving without nobody knowing how to drive except for you in the car. You just never know. Okay, says, I drive to NOLA without a second driver all the time. Yeah, you can do it. It's just not a smart thing to do. It's not. It's not a smart thing to do. You do what you have to do, but it's not a smart thing to do. It's not wise. I drove to Milwaukee and back by myself all the time. It's not smart. It's not wise. And I noticed that the first couple of hours, I be tired of shit. Like, I got to pull over until you get into the rhythm of the driving. Then, the 4th hour, 5th hour, 6th hour, you know what I mean? You can just go on through. But those first couple of hours, it'd be like, what the hell? Gabriel says, I like it. Time alone with my music. No, the driving itself is fine. But the danger that it poses, I mean, we've had, especially a woman, look at the tragedies that we've had with women being by themselves. Even though that Carly Russell situation was a fake, it represented a real problem. It did. It represented a real problem. And her name slips my mind now. But the woman who was killed by the cops, where they tried to say that she committed suicide in her cell or whatever. But the one that was Sandra Bland. going on that long drive by herself. You know, them southern states, it ain't cool. It is not cool for a black woman to be driving by herself anywhere down south. Anywhere. Anywhere below Delaware is not safe as far as I'm concerned for a black woman to be driving by herself. Yeah, I know Maryland ain't supposed to be that bad. No. Anything below Delaware. Nope. Nope. The whole understanding about racial justice and equality and all of that changes below Delaware. I ain't fucking with Maryland, Virginia, definitely not the Carolinas, Georgia, what? Florida. But when you start going west, you know, the Tennessees, the Kentuckys, the Mississippis, the Alabamas, Texas, Louisiana, no. Sure, husband says, one time I didn't realize how tired I was. That it's a real thing. It's a real thing, especially when you're the type of person whose ego makes you keep pushing. Like, I'm good. I got this. Yeah, your ego will have you wrapped around a guardrail somewhere with the car all flipped over and shit. Just saying. So I think by 18 years old, somebody should have taught you how to drive. Really, I think you should have your license by then, but if not, you should at least be able to get behind the wheel of the car and get everybody to their intended destination. Carol Chamberlain says, and it's never ending. Oh, and it's never ending state. So is North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Sure. Carol says, I worked 10 days straight and had to drive to South Carolina. Man, I was whipped when I got there. Yo, when you go on a long drive, people don't know. Your shoulders be all, you know, your shoulders, your back be feeling all sore and crazy. You don't even be know, like, you're thinking like you didn't know that you got driving muscles and shit like that, and your concentration. You know, sometimes your leg be all messed up. Yeah, it's serious. Shoot. You know, even with the air on, you might not notice you be sweating and shit when you be driving. A lot of things go into driving that you don't take into consideration until you go on a really long drive and you realize, like, yo, I'm sore. I'm hurting. I need to, you know, relax for a little while, get some real rest. Don't let you know, you drive into a place where there's going to be even more activity. So you done drove 10 hours. You done drove 10 hours and you supposed to party when you get there. You like, shit, we don't have to wait till tomorrow. I ain't ready to do nothing. You know what I mean? Shit, y'all go out that night because I've done it. Drove all night to Milwaukee, get there. I started out driving at night. So I leave the crib midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning so I can. By the time I get there, it's the afternoon, and you know what I mean. So I'm gonna chill with my cousins. We gonna go out party. Back then, drinking and all that crazy shit. I'm fucked up. Still did it. Still partied with them all day, and I'm like, and we an hour behind, you know, because they central time instead of Eastern time. I'm like, yo, this shit different. Care Bear says that's true about Carly because I thought she was telling the truth because of an experience I had in Alabama one time while driving to NOLA. Word. And she also says Sandra lived in Texas at the time. She had moved there, they say. And but the thing about Texas is such a big ass state. You can drive for 10 hours in Texas alone. Easily. From let's say Dallas, which is in North Texas, Arlington, you know, all that shit in North Texas, down to El Paso, 10 hours easy. Same thing with California. Like, imagine you driving that long and you ain't left the state. Shit, from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. Well, from Philadelphia to Beaver Falls, that's 6 hours. That's 6 hours, and that's just Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania ain't big. 6 hours. Now, when I drive to Milwaukee, and it's the weirdest thing because even when I was driving with my mom or riding with my mom when I was little, the bulk of the trip seemed like it was when we hit Pennsylvania. We thinking we home because we just hit Pennsylvania. No, we got another 5-6 hours to go. Especially if you're doing anywhere near the speed limit. So let's say back then the speed limit was 55 years old. I mean 55 miles per hour. And so if you was doing 70 or 80 or whatever, you was way over the speed limit. Then they raised the speed limit to 65. So, it made it a little bit easier. But yeah, now I realize how come it used to be 6 hours to get to get from Beaver Falls to Philly, or from Philly to Beaver Falls, instead of like, the good. Listen, from Philly to Beaver Falls is about 300 miles or more. You start breaking it down, 6 hours. So the whole trip to get to Milwaukee is 13 hours. So 6 hours was just in Pennsylvania, because we only spent a little bit of time in Ohio, then up to Indiana, then up to Illinois, but we only hitting little pieces of that. And then, from Chicago to Milwaukee is like from DC to Philly. It's about 150 miles. So, yeah. Care Bear says, I have learned not to push myself and stop in safe places to sleep. Mm-hmm. Yep. My first time I got cramps from dehydration. Plus your body is tense from being on alert. Yeah. You got concentration pains. Carol says, I know that feeling, sis. When I drove to South Carolina, I left at 4 p.m. and didn't get there until 6 a.m. the next day. I did stop twice. Care Bear says, Carol, my first time I was naive. I learned quick, fast in Alabama. Woo! True story. So yeah, I think that a person should learn how to drive before they're 18 years old. Because you go to college and stuff like that, people gonna be driving, y'all gonna be taking road trips and all that kind of stuff. People are underage drinking and all that kind of shit. It's easy to say, just like with having sex, it's easy to say, well, you shouldn't be drinking when you're underage, and you shouldn't be doing this, all that underage. Well, people do it and they underage and they make mistakes. So there should be somebody there where cooler heads will prevail, or at least drag us to safety. Just like sex. But I mean, y'all have sons. I was a son, and I had plenty of male friends, and I've seen them. I've seen the ones that used to get ass when they was teenagers, and the ones that didn't get no ass. And I've seen the ones that finally start getting some ass, and no, they wasn't ugly or nothing like that. That don't have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. There are plenty of great looking people, pretty people, handsome people who just did not have sex when they were teenagers or when they were younger teenagers. So by the time they got a little sex in their system, they was lost and turned out. They didn't know what the fuck to do with themselves. They crying. They bugging out. They all jealous and possessive. They wondering, why would you do this to me? Why would you, why would you want to be with somebody else besides me? Yeah, all kinds of feelings of inadequacy, feelings of low self-esteem. If you don't know about what sexual health is or emotions related to sexual activity is, You think you understand fidelity and infidelity? There ain't nothing worse than a young man or a young both, than a young person being totally let down and disappointed because they either running up in something or being ran up in, and thinking that they supposed to be with somebody because of sex, and it ain't going their way. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know somebody that went to college and came home pregnant. Some I know still finished college. Most of them came home, had the baby, went to college back, when they turned 35. Yeah, they went back and got their degree when they was 37, 40, 45. I just finished up my degree. Got pregnant as a freshman. Had sex for the first time, 18, 19 years old. Came home when they was 19 years old, 20 years old. Baby and belly in the baby. Raise your hand if you knew a young man who had a promising career, went to school, maybe even went to school on a scholarship, either academic or athletic, came home because there was a baby. Because there was a baby back home. And he either left the team, flunked out, or whatever, left school to come home and take care of his child. Might even got moved in with the girl, moved the girl in, got married to the girl, started a family. The man could have been in the NBA. He could have went in the NFL. He could have done a whole lot of shit. But he did the right thing. You know why he did the right thing? Because he was lost and turned out over a little bit of ass. Because he wasn't fucking before. It happens. Yes, you can be a really good athlete in high school and still not be having sex yet. I think it's miraculous that can happen. And even if it does happen, the right one, the one that got that snapper, the one that connects the physical to the mental for you, the physical to the mental to the emotional, physical, mental, emotional, that trifecta. So you was in college on a scholarship, and now you at home working at Family Dollar. You a manager at Family Dollar with your second child on the way. Well, there are way worse tragedies that can happen, but this is definitely not what we went into default status on a loan for. Carol says, I didn't get a license until I was 21. Carol, I didn't get mine until I was 24. I swear to God, I was driving for years before I finally got my license. I got it at 24. As soon as I got my license, I got a brand new car. It happens. Back then, Carol, we would drive for years with nothing but a learner's permit. Remember the paper learner's permit? The paper learner's permit. That little yellow piece of paper. Yeah. Yo, we would drive so long. We would drive to the learner's permit, ran out, and go get another learner's permit. No, not a license. We would drive until the learner's permit ran out, and then go renew our learner's permit. And here go the coup. Here's the coup de grace. You got stopped driving without a license. All you had was your learner's permit. You would give that cop that learner's permit like it was your license. And the fucked up part about it was you would get away with that shit. You gave that nigga the fucking learner's permit, like, you know what I mean, with confidence. He like, this ain't no license, this learner's permit. Well, you know. Man, those were the days. Man, those were the days. Cheryl says, you still are a son and a son. Oh. Carol says, sis, I was a little afraid. Had to drive one of my brothers home. He was drunk, and I had never drove a car before. That was traumatic for me. Yeah, that is scary. But at least you could do it. Oh damn, Carol. She said I was 16 at the time. Oh shit. You was a little young wild thing. Young wild, so young, so wild. So young. So wild. So young and wild. So wild and young. Yes, indeed. And a paper license too. Ah, shit. Woo! Yeah, Carol, you were supposed to have a license driving. Back then, the cops they just didn't case you up for certain shit. They just didn't. Nowadays, they gonna impound your car and all of those shit. Back then, they didn't do that. You would proudly drive with a damn learner's permit, knowing it wasn't a full license. Like, I'm almost there. You know, if I got this learner's permit, at least I took the test. I know what you see me. You see I'm behind the wheel. You see I can drive. Duh. Matter of fact, why you stopping me? Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway. Anyway, you know, these are some of the things that happen when you wait until you 18 before you get some. You kind of need a little bit of practice. Because, you know, it's just like anything else that you do for the first time. Even if you do something right the first time, it'll be hard for you to get into a rhythm of really understanding the essence of what you're doing. And what you want to do is you want to get into a rhythm of doing something. You know, once you get into a rhythm of doing something, then you know that you're doing it with experience and you can do it with confidence. Just like playing basketball, when you get into a rhythm, those shots are flowing. Playing football, when the quarterback gets into a rhythm, his timing is on. His timing is much more perfect. He's able to have more accuracy in his throws, and it's like poetry in motion. When the defense is constantly getting to him, when he has to move around in and out of the pocket and all of that kind of stuff, his throws are going to be off because he's not able to get into a rhythm. If his offensive line is not able to protect him to the point where he has enough time to make good decisions. It's the same thing with anything else that you do in life. It's hard to get into a rhythm when you don't understand how to do something. You might have a natural ability to do something, but when you're challenged by those who are experienced in that field, it's going to be hard for you to compete against them because you haven't learned how to get into a rhythm. So getting into a rhythm of your emotions is just as important. Getting into the rhythm of your emotions, understanding that just because I do this doesn't mean that I'm going to feel this way or somebody else is going to feel this way. You don't know that when you haven't had sex before. You don't know that when you haven't fallen in love before. You don't know that when somebody else is not on the same page with you. And that's why it's so easy to be stressed out and be led into depression and be all sad and lovesick. And we've all been there, but people are going to understand and sympathize with you a lot more when you are a young person going through this than when you are in your 20s and 30s. They like, listen, you got to grow the fuck up. Listen, shorty. Listen, my dear. Listen, love. Listen, sis. You knew that man that you've been messing around with, been married before. He already got two, three, 4 kids. About two, three, 4 baby moms. Yeah, he was nice to you, maybe wined and dined and talked to you real sweet and all of that kind of stuff. But this dude is used to sticking and moving. Even if he don't move, he used to sticking, and you ain't used to being stuck. And once you get stuck, you stuck, like immobilized. And he's still moving on. People aren't as sympathetic to you at 35 as they're going to be at 17, 18. They expect you to know the game. It's just a fact. And you watch the internet, social media, motherfuckers, as you can clearly see, they have not gotten into a rhythm of their emotions. They do not understand the way the game go, the way life goes. And so what do they say? It shouldn't be that way. That's why it shouldn't be that way. You're right. But guess what? It is that way. And your refusal or hard-headedness in accepting it is going to make your world a lot smaller and a lot harder. The same way it would be if you were 16, 17 years old. But if you think about it, 2 times 16 is 32. So by 32, you've had double the time of your life to get this thing figured out. So what you were going through and how you were feeling at 16 should not be the same way that you are feeling at 32 if you're having similar experiences. Is that just my opinion? It could be. It could be. It very well could be. It's a valid statement. I ain't mad at you, but I really don't like to see people get hurt. I don't like people. I don't like to see people with their feelings hurt. And from my point of view, I see people get their feelings hurt so often because of the expectations that they have placed on other people and of themselves and on themselves, I should say. Yeah. So no, I'm not saying to put your 15-year-old on a pill, but shout out to the parents out there that put their 15-year-olds on the pill. Okay, we understand the health risks that are involved, but we also understand the health risks that are involved of having a baby growing inside of your belly. And of course, a birth control pill has its own set of problems that comes along with it. And we know that it doesn't protect against STDs. So as parents, as adults, we have to teach about all of that because we don't want those mistakes to get made after 18 because they're catastrophic. They could be, and another thing I want to say is a lot of these cats who have sex after 18, after they get in college and all that kind of stuff, they be so freaky. They ain't done nothing before. Now they want to do every single sexual act that they have ever thought of. The mental part, the emotional part. Sex so good. Do you remember? And I ain't saying that everybody who has sex after they turn 18 is going to be turned out, smutted out, freaked out. I'm not saying that. But there's a greater likelihood that it will happen, or that you will be so turned off by sex because you have linked your emotions to the sexual activity, and nobody has taught you better than that. You could have grown up with parents who never understood it. Many people do. I've known plenty of parents when I was younger and in my life right now, my peers who never really understood it. I see them on the internet, these days still bitching because they don't get it. They don't get it. So they practicing celibacy, they practicing abstinence, they wishing on a star to follow where you are, and you're wishing on a dream to find out what it means. And I wish on all the rainbows that I see. I'm just saying, I think it's time we should make up, baby. I think it's time for us to get back together and make the best of things, oh baby, when we're together. Whether or never. All right, let's do these birthday shout outs and get on up out of here, baby. A giggy, 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 a giggy, 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 giggy. Let's get out of here. August 11th, baby. Y'all know my birthday tomorrow. And you know my all right, let's go. We have some birthday shout outs to go. To do some birthday, some people were born on this glorious. August 11th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and make them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. Rianto M. Smith. Rianto. That's a different name, Rianto. And I'm wondering if I'm even saying it right. Could it be Riantley? Rianto. REANTLE. Okay, and Tara Bligent, my girl going all the way back to the 1985. My classmate Tara Bligent. Tara, turning 52 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Ma. And also Kimba Philly John. Happy birthday to you. And comedian Home Alone, turning 44 years old today. And pretty Nicole Greer, turning 30 years old today. And Angela Lioness Jackson, go get her, Angela's Lioness Jackson, turning 54 years old today. And she's raising money for the dialysis and kidney transplant fund. Oh my goodness, yes. And also my girl, Young John Angel Bird, AKA, wait, what's her other name? Angelique Burbage, that's her name. And also Quan Siegel, happy birthday to you, also a go-getter. And my girl going all the way back to the 1982. My girl going all the way back to the 1982. Nichelle Jamani. That's her new last name. I guess that's her married last name. But back in the day. But anyway, happy birthday to you. And last but certainly not least, my girl, formerly of Music Box Records, 28th and Girard Avenue, my girl Olivia Davis. Happy birthday to you, Ma. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all, and I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious August 11th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you rock out, rock on and do the damn, rock out, rock on and do the damn, rock out, rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man. 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 Sex before 18. After that, it's too late. It's like, nah, it's not too late. But there's just certain things that are rites of passages. And I think that there's some things that we just need to get out of our system just so we can try to be able to relax, to be able to put things in this proper perspective, to be able to get our flow on and get your no on and be ready to go on. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I think we will be back tomorrow. We're going to see about it. We're going to see about it. I got a few things. But you know, there will be a birthday show. You know, the way I see it. Yeah. Love is love. Thank you so much, Carol Chamberlain, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate me some you. Yes, I do. Yes. All right, y'all. So Blog Talk, we're gonna get you out of here. Yeah. And for my YouTubers, you know just how we do, but thanks for coming on through. See you on the other side, my boobas 1, 2. On the other side, my boobas 3, 4. Or look for more of my boobas. Peace, y'all.